Okay, Sooner Nation. So, Oklahoma, we got to take a look at this 2025 class. And I think what's left for OU at this point, because Oklahoma's been on a heater through the month of June. Going into July, I think Oklahoma could really have this class wrapped up. You currently have 21 commits. And yeah, I think Oklahoma could have more good news towards the end of this cycle. Currently, according to 247, CJ Nixon is Oklahoma's highest rated recruit at number 74. Foj comes in at number 89, and Tristan Haynes comes in at number 3 at 107. But I think you're going to see some of these guys surge through the rankings. But there's several targets still left on Oklahoma's board that OU fans, you have to be paying attention to. You have to watch for this. And I think we're going to start with Michael Fusi today. Before we do that, though, jump in the comments below, join the discussion. Let me know what you guys think about the 2025 class so far. I saw somebody in the comments in one of my last videos say that Brent Venables can't land top 100 guys. Brent Venables is not the coach for Oklahoma, and OU football is not a blue blood. So if you all need some proof and evidence on that, listen, he's landed 3 5-star defensive players, which is, I think, is the most since like 2013 or 2012. Like, it's been the most in a while. And then not to mention, he's had, I think, close to 20 top 100 recruits, definitely over 20 top 150 guys. So I don't want to hear that noise that Oklahoma is not elite and that Oklahoma cannot recruit top 100 players. I'm not going to dive into that a whole lot because it's a stupid discussion. But I want to talk about Michael Fusi first, and then we're going to go into Andrew Babalola, Floyd Burrell, Cade Peterson, and Jones as well. So if you all saw the announcement, Michael Fusi says he has big news coming. And some Oklahoma fans are asking themselves, well, what could the big news be? What's Michael Fusi going to do? Guys, from what I understand and from what I feel, I think it's an announcement date at this point when he's going to commit. I wouldn't expect to see anything in July. I do believe he's going to be at the party at the Palace here at the end of the month, but I don't expect to see him actually publicly commit until probably the second to third week of August, potentially, maybe the first week, but it's going to be in August at some point. For Michael Fusi, this is Oklahoma's biggest target left on the board. It's been probably your biggest target outside of Jonah Williams on the board for the entire cycle. And you're battling Texas down the stretch. The thing that's important here is you lost Lamont Rogers to Missouri. I kind of misspoke a little bit. I don't think Oklahoma is going to land Rogers at this point or be able to flip him, just from some things that I was told. I do think Lamont Rogers made the right decision, though. I'm not going to go into that too much. But Fusi becomes all the more important. And for Oklahoma, you now have a huge competitor in A&M and Texas. Texas was already trying to potentially outbid you. Texas A&M, I would imagine, is probably going to come into the fold as well, because now that they don't have Rogers, I don't know how in they are for Haywood, but it looks like Haywood will probably end up at Alabama. So if you're Oklahoma, Texas A&M, they're going to be your biggest competitors. You really hope that you can get Fusi to shut his recruitment down at the party at the Palace, potentially a weekend where Jaden O'Neal is going to be there and might be able to help you out recruiting as well. So we're going to keep our eyes on this one. Again, Oklahoma's biggest prospect on the board so far. But I said we're going to go into Andrew Babalola real quick. Jonah Williams, guys. We're talking to Jay and Coop over at Unfair Sports about this. I think we're kind of in agreement that Jonah Williams, not potentially going to Texas A&M now. You've got the head coach moving to Texas for the baseball side of things. That kind of becomes a very intriguing thing that's happening over there. If that doesn't happen, I think there's a chance Oklahoma gets him on campus this fall for a game. And if that happens, I think Oklahoma is probably going to surge right up there into the running for Jonah Williams. Not giving your guys' hopes up, but I do think that the head coach movement in baseball definitely, one, provides stability for Oklahoma in recruiting football and baseball. But two, I think it helps in this recruitment with Jonah Williams, with Texas A&M's coach leaving. Now, I want to talk about Andrew Babalola, because outside of Michael Fusi, I think this is your only other target on the offensive line that you're really going after. And if you guys remember, he showed up for the Champion Barbecue. The consensus was coming out of the visit, he had a really good time. Now, I did want to pull up some stats because we've talked about med school a lot due to the predictions to Stanford. And Stanford in terms of just overall medical school, according to usnews.com, they're ranked number 5 in best medical schools for research, which is a tie, and number 31 in best medical schools for primary care. Now, you look at specialty rankings, they're in the top 10 outside of psychiatry and everything else. You look at Michigan and Oklahoma. Where are they ranked? I think this becomes important because Michigan and Oklahoma are going to be the two other schools you really look at. Oklahoma, number 76 in research, but number 34 in primary care. So they're right there for Stanford. So depending on what kind of doctor he wants to be, I think depends on whether or not Oklahoma has a phenomenal shot at this. Now, the University of Michigan has a little bit better of a medical program. Again, they're top 10 in everything for specialty rankings. So if he wants to go into any one of those specialty ones, it does make sense to potentially go to Michigan over Stanford. And not to mention, you've got Sharon Moore out there who can develop on the offensive line. But program rankings, they're number 13 in research and number 26 in primary care. So they're definitely beating Oklahoma there. But you got to sell, if you're Oklahoma, the idea of Bill Beanbo developing Andrew Babalola and your medical school still being a very good one, right? And to be honest, where you go for med school doesn't really matter. It's the residency that does matter. So looking off that a little bit, we got to talk about Floyd Burrell because this is one that I think has been one of the more intriguing recruitments that Oklahoma's been going after. You see USC as the trending school in On 3 and 247. I believe Tom Loy has a prediction from 247. He's number 611th ranked player in the country, 3-star guy, but he has over 47 total offers. So 3-star kid has 47 total offers. That doesn't tell the whole story there. Alabama, USC, Miami, you have Florida State, you have Georgia, right? You have all of these schools that do really well on the defensive line outside of USC right now. USC's recruited well on the defensive line before, just not done well in terms of development. Floyd Burrell, I'm not a believer in him ending up in Oklahoma's class yet, but there is a lot of optimism out there amongst recruiting analysts and experts across the country. So for me to tell you, like, I do think it's probably somewhere in the middle. I don't think Oklahoma's got a good shot. I've heard a lot of people think Oklahoma does. So it's probably in the middle out of 50%, 60% chance. Like Oklahoma's probably in the 40 to 50%. USC's probably still the lean, I would bet, but Oklahoma's probably right there. And you would hear that probably from most experts across the country. But if you were asking me, I'm not going to hedge my bets on it just yet. I think this is one of those recruitments where you'll believe it when you see it come through. Now, the next guy that we got to talk about is Cade Peterson. We've been waiting a long time for Cade to wrap up his commitment, and I think we're going to see his commitment wrap up here by the end of July. I don't know if this one's going to last too much longer. But again, this is a really intriguing offer because being from North Dakota, he has a very intriguing offer list with schools like Nebraska. Obviously, K-State's in there, but look at the powerhouse schools in the country. Florida State, Auburn, you've got USC, you've got Florida, he's got good, decent offers from other elite schools across the country. So Cade Peterson, you still favor Oklahoma here. I don't think Oklahoma's lost their lead, but he did end up taking those official visits to K-State and Nebraska. So you kind of have to ask yourself, how does that work? How does everybody else feel? Kansas State insiders have submitted predictions for Oklahoma. So that's got to tell you the favoritism has to be an Oklahoma's favorite at this point. But then you look at the linebacker position. This is where we're going to wrap it up. Christian Jones, 6'2.5", 215-pound linebacker out of Omaha, Nebraska. We've talked about him at length. He is the take-out linebacker at this moment. If you don't get him, you're probably just taking Marcus James. But Christian Jones, he loves Oklahoma. The sole mission, he has said, sets Oklahoma apart from other programs, which we've heard a lot from a lot of recruits. So Christian Jones, I know On 3 says it's Nebraska. I don't think it is. Honestly, I think Oklahoma's the leader. I think Oklahoma lands his commitment. And when you look at how this class could wrap up, if you land a Fusi, a Peterson, and a Christian Jones, this class is, I think, knocking on the door of top 5. You land a Floyd Burrell or an Andrew Babalola, you're definitely a top 5. You land both of those guys, maybe a number 4 class in the country. Like Oklahoma still has a lot of momentum on the recruiting trail, a lot of guys they can still get that would really help them in the recruiting rankings. At this point, it's just a matter of how is Oklahoma going to be able to put it together? If Oklahoma goes out there, wins 10, 11, even more games, wins a playoff game, they're going to potentially get a lot more eyes, definitely in the 2026 class, but kids that are in 2025, that maybe where Oklahoma was the second that said, wait, I want to go there because I've seen the development, I've seen the proof of concept, and I want to play for an elite program that's up and up on the rise. So this is just something OU fans need to be watching for. I think you guys need to be paying attention. So jump in the comments below, join the discussion. Let me know what you guys think about this 2025 class so far. And if you guys have not already, make sure you guys hit that like and you hit that subscribe button.